This is Hillary and Clinton, and welcome to another week of Blacklantic, a podcast and media channel bringing East Coast voices to the world.
Black History Month is over, so we are going to do a recap of at least the things we were involved in, because Black History Month is actually exhausting for Black people when it should be a time of us just relaxing, learning, and enjoying the festivities. And then we're going to get into a whole bunch of other things regarding the Canadian government, the American government, Chinese spy balloons, and the works.
It's the conspiracy theory episode of my dreams. Our podcast is weekly with guest topics, and you can find us anywhere online. I'm back is what I was about to say in terms of my illness, but now you're gone in terms of the video. And now you're back, and we're both back.
We're going to figure this out. We got to figure this out. Yeah, we might be taking a break from Restream and trying to, if next week we look a little different, it's because we've moved on to another podcast streaming network. Restream, Absolutely. If you're listening to us, but you're not, get your stuff together.
Valid. Also, shout out to Sally. Thank you so much for guest co-hosting last week while I was away. Thank you for holding down the fort. New York Fashion Week killed me as it did last September too, but only a 3-day migraine this time, and I'm back, baby, to talk about Black History Month with you.
Yeah, she did a great job as always. She's got some new podcasts on the way, and if you ever want to check out more from her, check out We Can Fight Like Cats.
Yeah.
All right. Hillary, what was your Black History? So you're over there in Toronto. I'm in Moncton. You're in New York for 2 weeks. Tell me about your Black History Month and the events you had going on.
I feel like I have to start by talking about our pre-Black History Month, which people don't even know about. So, well, people know a little bit about what they saw, but obviously, if you're following along and paying attention to our content, I went home for my mother's 72nd birthday, my 29th birthday, and what was supposed to only be 4 days of like fun and work and doing some Black History Month content so that I could go to New York and have it be easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. There was a snowstorm on my mom's birthday. There was a snowstorm here in Toronto when I was supposed to leave. So 4 days turned into 7. Had I known that, I think we could have spread out our work a little bit better, but that's okay because obviously the weather is unpredictable. But basically, I think our Black History Month conversations, as always, started in December with planning, working with CBC and figuring out what content you and I were going to be producing and making with them and on our own platform here. And then once I got to town, we recorded our content with Jonna and CBC Information Morning, discussing the Black history that we had uncovered about Ottenabog School, about the NBAACP, and about the Black Loyalists. So that ended up being the 3-morning conversation. Then on the way, we were surprised, and we're finally going to be posting about this today. So it's already out when you're listening to this, but we were asked to do a small episode with Rogers, which was so exciting for me. As I had told Clinton, I think just like days before, or I guess he didn't know, but I had done 2 shows with Rogers way back in the day. So it was funny to be back in that building. And then we went to our friends at CHMA and we recorded our content. We talked to your sister, which wasn't Black History Month related, but was still during the trip, which was exciting. Did our Black History Month episode. What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything?
I don't know. If things pop up in your memory as I'm talking, then chime in or like type it down, or I'm usually the one forgetting things, so you probably didn't forget things. In fact, disclaimer, Hillary wrote down what I did this month for me just so I
was like, I saw you here. I have the receipts.
But yeah, we did 3 days of history content for CBC, which was amazing. Great reviews. Our episode, a half-hour episode, aired on Rogers TV like 20 times, and you can check it out on our page right now through the YouTube link. And it was produced by Jeff from Jeff's Musical Car. And if you don't know who that is, super, super cool guy that does really cool things. Amazing videographer. We both picked our song picks of the month for Black History Month. So we highlighted Black artists from New Brunswick. And What else? I did a speak for the Black Business Professionals Network. It was part of a luncheon for International Development Week and Black History about following your goals, which went really well, and met some great people. I also, well, supposed to do a talk at a local elementary school, my kid's school actually, and I haven't done that yet, but I'm still hoping to do that. As I said, Black History Month was a lot and it was exhausting. And also, I was supposed to do a talk with Prude, but that got pushed back, so that should be coming in the next week. Again, on best practices for people of color in entrepreneurship. Um, this past weekend was jam-packed for me. First, we were invited up to Miramichi for the New Brunswick Black Summit. Now, what this was a coming together of organizations, both Black and African. And if you don't know what that means, maybe I'll write a blog about it. Of different organizations from all over the province. And the theme was action to change, with the idea that there are so many different independent organizations all operating in a silo, but all moving towards, parallel goals. So that's part of the talks were about how we can work together. So this was put on by the New Brunswick African Association, as well as input by the Battle of the Arts. So it was hosted by Saw Andrews, Yusuf Shire, Ronald Sharp, and Frederick Moen-Gabo. Yeah, so a lot of themes were discussed regarding immigration, how immigrants are treated, kids in school, how food can be shared to expose culture, the bad treatment that kids get in school regarding their accents and the foods they eat. But we also talked about politics and healthcare, plans of how to come together. And at the end of this, documents were prepared to be sent to federal and provincial levels of government and legislature. To do that, there was live performances. I got to meet with musicians. There was really a great coming together of all these different organizations, and we're so grateful for this initiative. I believe the John Howard Society sponsored part of the event, so some of these organizations had accommodations paid for and stuff like that. So it was really amazing. There's more info on our page about that this weekend, and we had them on the show last month. Was also the Malakela Foundation's inaugural for themselves Black Excellence Gala. So congratulations to them. It was a night of a panel, awards, poetry, live presentations, a great meal featuring both Caribbean and African food, and clothing being sold. So it was a great jump off for them. It was at the Cultural Center of Dieppe. Now, I want to make a little correction to a previous episode in which we implied that it was New Brunswick's first ever gala. We've since been educated to know that the first gala in New Brunswick actually took place in 1858. And since then, there have been all kinds of events thrown by Black organizations. There have been boat cruises in attendance of more than 300 people, soirees, fancy picnics, and parties. So, I mean, that was really educational for us. We always like to remind people that we are not historians or anything like that. We are entertainers who try to do activism work as well, and we're going to get into that later. And then the last thing I want to mention is when I was at the event this week and I met a gentleman named Cliff, can't remember his last name, but he is the guardian of the garden. He works for a community food bank here in Moncton, and he invited me to a Black History luncheon that they had at the food bank center, in which they invited staff as well as the clients that come there and other guests. And it's going to be a monthly event. It's going to be a monthly event where people will come to the food bank and be exposed to African food, which was really important because there were so many people there that were resistant and were afraid to try African food. But we brought them in and we explained what the different dishes were, and they loved it. One of the chefs there gave a speech on the different cultures of Africa and where the foods came from. There were those comments that were not meant to be but in the end, like, the people really loved it. Like, some people would come up to us and to be like, oh my gosh, it was actually good. But again, exposure to the culture. So I was really proud to be a part of that, and I'll probably be volunteering once a month to help out with that. So
That makes me so
it
emotional.
was
Like,
cool.
that makes me genuinely tear up. Like, I was a food bank kid and it was always super white and it was always like either like perishables that were half rotten, or it was always craft dinner. I would be never exposed to my blackness. That would have changed so much. Like, I literally started crying when you said that. That
Oh,
would have changed so much about my life. Oh, that makes me so happy. I'm
that's amazing.
seriously crying.
That's
That's the
amazing.
loveliest thing ever. We have to do more about this. Wait. What
Wow.
the hecky?
Aw.
Uh, well, more than conspiracy theories, also tears this episode. Get the clickbait photos ready.
Screenshot.
Screenshot. No, but
No, that's
sincerely,
so
I think
special.
that, like, yeah, I remember being one of like very few Black kids in the welfare system and like low rentals, because otherwise they were immigrants who just like hadn't really gotten into the employment services. And so they were super like no representation, not understood, not known, told that their food smelled weird in the low rental housings, told that they're like that they weren't allowed to rent the apartments because it smelled that way and because they would leave those smells behind. But like, no offense, I'm not trying to propagate this type of information, but we know that there are people in low rental housings who have very bad habits, like incessant smoking and drug use and drinking, that can also cause damage to an apartment more so than like a curried meal. And having to hear that as a biracial kid was so frustrating and hard, and led to so much like internalized racism within myself. And to know that like white people that would have been around my mom and around those people are going to be educated, and that might help poorer students who have those issues, like, that's so huge. That's so cool. I'm so happy this threw the whole show for a loop. Huh.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to tell you about that. Wow, this is so special. I'm
Tell
feeling
me
emotional
nothing
now.
except when we were on the show together. We
I'm
should
glad I
really like,
waited.
I will make an
Candid
effort.
moment.
I will make an effort when I'm down and we're together to do something together. Like, we'll do something about this.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the idea is for it
That's
to be
so cool.
monthly, and we're gonna help make sure it happens. Of course, we can help get the word out. They didn't
Yeah.
have any marketing or promotions for it. They did it actually 2 days in a row this week. I wasn't able to go today, but I mean, the same thing happens today, because at the summit, that's what parents were saying a lot. They were saying like, and it's not even from poverty, like people, even teachers, like this, if that happened to you X 30 years ago, it's happening right now, every day. And it was amazing. I can't believe the amount of doctors and lawyers and other people. I always say doctors and lawyers, but other people of prestigious backgrounds that were at this summit, that weren't able to practice their craft here in New Brunswick. And as we know, the government is working on making it easier to bridge education and qualifications from certain countries. And I hate to put a negative spin on this, but they're not doing this for the benefit of immigrants. They're doing it because they have no choice at this point, but it still will benefit immigrants in the end. And yeah, it was covered by CBC journalist Aniakin. What's his last name? Oh my gosh, I'm having a memory. Aniakin Atube. He did an amazing job. You can find that video on CBC. And yeah, so Black
I
History
will.
Month was a lot. And
Yeah.
it's it's year round for us, but we got a lot done and a lot happened.
I
And
didn't
even
even. That was everything. I said everything that we did before the month even started. Then
yeah,
I had my month.
that's
So
facts.
then
Yeah.
I did a prude talk this week just about, like, funnily enough, sort of what I just said, my internalized racism and why I wanted to found something like Black Atlantic with you, the podcast that we were with before, how our roots sort of came to be, and our little founding story for just about like 30 minutes. I have another one tomorrow, so by the time this airs, it will have passed, just about social media marketing and stuff. So again, even though tomorrow's technically March 1st, now everyone knows when we're recording this, Black History Month is all year round, like you said, so they're like spilling that over as well. I was in charge of Fashion Group International Toronto's Black History Month panel. So I curated the list. It was gown designer Zoba Martin of Nigerian descent, who actually
Oh,
won
wow.
funding from CBC's Dragon's Den. So
Cool.
she's got her pitch got approved. So she's, having a bit of a fame moment. I've gotten to wear her dresses. She's amazing. Rowan James, who's a menswear designer. Tyler and Karen Ferguson, who are a mom and daughter duo who do Monoxide Jewelry, and actually loaned me pieces for Fashion Week, which was lovely to rep a Black-owned brand at Fashion Week, as well as an actress who only goes by her first name, Lindura. She's very into sustainability efforts, super cool, fun people. Curated the questions, and then I got sick, so I didn't even get to host it. But there is a recording which I will be uploading shortly to Fashion Group International Toronto's YouTube if you want to learn more about some of the cool Black innovators and change makers in the fashion industry here that I get to work alongside. A very cool event that I should have gone to as well was the CBC Being Black in Canada event. I was also ill during that time and I didn't get to go. I know it looked lit. It sounded very exciting. I'm sure there will be more. And as a CBC changemaker for Atlantic Canada, Clinton.
That's why I made that face, actually, because I forgot to say that.
You forgot to say that you are a changemaker. Hopefully next year you can come to the Toronto CBC Being Black in Canada changemaker event with me. And then the only other things that I wanted to mention briefly, and then I'll let you talk about being a change maker, was there was also the Black Diamond Ball, which looked amazing. It had a lot of prolific Toronto Black people in the media industry here, and other white allies and just very cool people at the Fairmont Royal York. It looked like they had Caribbean Jamaican food, performers, singers, and they had like a gala ball, big fancy party dress, dance the night away vibes at the Fairmont Royal York. And then the other one that was there another one I wanted to mention? I can't remember. Talk about being a change maker.
I will. And before I do, I'll just mention that, wow, we're talking really fast. It's been 16 minutes and we're still talking about what we did for Black History Month. And I mean,
there was so much.
This is barely a drop in the bucket of what happened. But yeah, I'm still learning through therapy to talk about myself and, acknowledge my accolades and accomplishments, because I'm not very good at that. But I was super humbled this year. I was voted one of 20 out of CBC's first round of selecting change makers from the Atlantic provinces, 5 from every province, and that is primarily due to the work that you and I do here on this channel, as well as partnerships that I've made with, we've made with Tribe, Improved Network, and BBPN, like you said, and I'm forgetting another organization that I did a lot of work with throughout the year.
The New Brunswick School District and building a whole curriculum.
Right.
Because I forget about that one all the time. And I'm like, that might be the coolest one.
It really is. And making change. And
yeah.
So, they spent a day interviewing me and putting together a piece that was released for CBC. Other change makers in this province were Clyde Ray from St. John, Tondeway McCarthy, we've had on the show, I believe, Gary Weeks, we've had on the show, and Doyen, I can't remember her last name, but she works in Fredericton in immigration and health and with students and stuff like that. Amazing people, and people from all over the Atlantic provinces, which we hope to have on the show. What's interesting, Hillary, is that, as I look around, I've met so many change makers this month. And again, I accept the recognition. But I mean, we interview the change makers every other week, right? Like our show and even our channel and our website, our network, is we highlight the people doing the hard work, the amazing work. And I say that because, you know what, I've been saying this for years, and back then we did just podcasts, but now we are doing work. But I mean, we talk on the podcast every week for the most part, and I can't wait for next year, because I'm already building up a list of all the people I'm going to vote for the next year. And maybe we should even have our own change maker acknowledgement, like in August or something, because the amount of people that are doing work out there to push the bar for equality is incredible. It really is.
While I would love to have our own change maker list, what I would say is go through the episodes of the podcast. Every single person's probably a change maker. Like,
Amen.
That's literally
Amen.
What I said in our Prude thing, is that it is an honor to share the stories of people who would have changed my life, who impact me, who want to make me a better person, Black person, woman, mother, daughter, all of these things. Like, every person you've referenced, every person we've had on the show, we don't interview bad people or people like we're not at the point of Joe Rogan where we're going to interview people that we don't agree with for specific conflict. All of these people deserve a platform. I'm honored and blessed every day that we've taken up the role of having a platform and offering it to other people and say, would you like to tell your story about your good work, about what you're doing, about why you're making the community better every day? And we don't do it in one province. We do it in 4, sometimes 5, and sometimes even further. And I think if we could, we would do the whole country. So honestly, I'm proud that we're change makers. I'm proud that you were named a change maker and that I got my little sad, hey, you're part of this too, because I was very proud. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of every person we've had on the show, every person that we've named. I think that like in the 10 years since I've graduated high school and the racism I felt then, looking now, like the diversity is huge and the change in New Brunswick is huge. If only it was reflected in policy and politics, but we're getting somewhere. I hope.
Like we said on CBC, progress is slow. I mean,
yeah,
it takes a long time to push the bar, especially generationally. And I'm so cheesy, corny moment for the listeners. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the work that we've done. This has been an amazing journey we've been on. And no, like you did an amazing reel for CBC recently that got like a gazillion likes and views. Not to mention the TikTok we never talk about with like our probably tens of millions of views. But the one thing you did for CBC really like shot up our Instagram follower list, plus all the
there's another one coming.
So thankful for all the new followers that we got this month, because that means that the people we interview will get exposed to more and more people every week. But okay, yeah, let's keep that. So there's another one coming.
There should be another one coming. Yeah, they really loved what we had to say about New Brunswick history, and they also feel that it's a great way to share it in a capsule moment. And so they want me to do another one on the work that we had already discussed and done. And then I'm going to see moving forward what else we're able to do on Instagram to boost our following. So it's nice to have their back. Them have our back, us have their back. And also I want to say,
partnership for sure.
Thank you to all the partners who've helped us get where we are. And also, this is a really good cheesy moment to say, like, this was our 1-year anniversary, and I feel like we skirted by it, but it's been a year of, like, changing our visuals, growing as a team, growing individually, growing these partnerships, watching the Black community grow. Like, we've talked several times about feeling like all of these wonderful organizations have been segregated across our province, and now there is a New Brunswick Summit happening that you got to go to. And so even in the year that we've been doing this, the landscape has changed, and I'm proud of the few drops in the bucket that we've gotten to do in 365 now plus 28 days.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly could potentially see a New Brunswick in the future that is like so close to the New Brunswick where we're asking, like so far from the New Brunswick you grew up in, that my wife grew up in, that I experienced like 3 times a year coming to visit for the 10 years before I moved here. And I'd come out here and I'd be like what? Like, no, like this place is horrible. Yeah, so it's coming a long way. So
absolutely.
Kudos to
us. It feels weird to pivot now because I'm like,
I know, I keep thinking,
I've cried. I'm like,
okay, so let's give everyone like 10-15 seconds because we're about to get weird. Like, should we have a moment of silence for
we have our first topic,
serious
still
topic
about Black History Month. Then we're gonna get weird, and I did forget about something else I wanted to discuss, but I don't know if time will allow it. We'll try. I might squeeze it in before we get to TikTok. No. Well, I think it's heavier, but let's start with this.
Okay.
Our homeboy, not homeboy, JT.
JT. So third time we're gonna have Justin Trudeau on the air in our 2 seasons. Oh, and this is episode 10, so we are 1/3 of the way through our season 2. Can you believe it? That's wild.
Yeah.
So I'm on this super popular Canadian Instagram account called Six Buzz. I know you don't like it, but I stay on it because there's content sometimes. So it was announced today that announced a few days ago that Justin Trudeau was committing a total of $1.5 million, $1.1 million to go towards something to do with Black mental health services in Canada, which, correct me if I'm wrong, which I believe we're supposed to be for Black people who were traumatically affected by COVID, and then another $400,000 to go towards. Hold on, well, just correct me right ahead. Just go ahead, correct me off the bat. Yeah.
It's just
The
the
other way
reverse.
around.
So the 1.1 million is for culturally safe
Develop
and
health
appropriate mental
services.
health counseling,
Can
and
you
then
say that again?
400. 1.1 million for its project to build capacity around mental health counseling and culturally safe and appropriate supports. 400,000 for a project to develop Black-centric trauma responsive community support services, specifically in Toronto's Regent Park region, for diverse forms of trauma exacerbated biases during COVID-19 pandemic and post-pandemic recovery. This is from the Government of Canada website.
Which is amazing because that's important, right? But so especially the developing of future services, even when I saw the IG post, I was like 1.1, 1.5, 1 point whatever, okay, money for Black people who are traumatized by COVID. Even I at first was like, well, that's a bit weird. Like, this long after, why is he just doing that? And so the comments were horrible. People were like, oh, why do Black people need this? So there was racism and like, oh, Trudeau's all only for the Black people, or these far left wing, and like there was all kinds of negative comments. But that's the problem, and what we're going to talk about throughout the rest of this episode is like that was clickbait, right? So that was clickbait. That was something to get people's attention and get people riled up. And when you look into it, the reality was the 1.5 million was just a drop in the bucket, because the announcement was actually that he announced $100 million to go towards a number of different initiatives for a COVID relief fund. You know, and if people got the full context, you correct me again if I'm wrong, if people got the full context, like this is $100 million for COVID related scenarios, just like they've been doing through the whole pandemic.
It's not really a correction. So when I tried to Google and find information about this $100 million, there's no information because it's old money. He's just reallocating part of it, I think. I don't think I couldn't find a new announcement about $100 million. All I found was there was a previous 100 COVID relief, and it's like he took 1.5 from that money and finally diverted it into one space. So it's money that's already been like budgeted, spent. And he's just saying, like, now for Black History Month, this one is for my N-words. My neighbors. My neighbors, you get this money.
Okay. It's February 28th. Okay, it's still Black History Month. We're not
By
going
the
to
time this airs, it's March 2nd. And
so what I saw, I thought the $100 million was just announced recently. So that makes it even like, why is this all coming up?
And maybe you can find it, but I Googled when I sent you that preamble and I couldn't find it because that was the only press release on the Government of Canada's website. What I will say, what I'm finding interesting, so what I wanted to do was look into the Black Mental Health Canada, because they get 1.1 million. So they seem to be a Canada-wide resource that helps you find mental health practitioners in the various provinces and cities that I assume would either be able to speak to Blackness or are Black themselves. And for, the sake of research, I'm going to see if they have people. They have one person in Moncton, and I believe this is the person you were talking about. Were you telling us the other day on the show about Kayla Bree-Love Carter?
Absolutely, I was. And you know what? I knew it when I read about that. Yeah, when I read about this, I had also heard about an initiative that Kayla Bree-Love was doing. So she is so part of the funding is from this.
So essentially, the website that hosts all Black counselors across the country has her listed as the only Black one in Moncton, New Brunswick, and they're the ones that got the 1.1 million. So they got the non-COVID related part of the funding is this organization that has this resource.
Oh, the organization Bree-Love got the 1.1 million.
She's on their website, listed as a mental health practitioner.
That's amazing. Okay, because what I understood was that she was the only mental health practitioner company in all of Canada that specifically dealt with people facing trauma due to racialized issues.
She's certainly the only one listed in Moncton. When you use this resource, which it's blackmentalhealth.ca for anyone wanting to follow along, you can pick a city, you can pick a province, and then you can pick a specialty: ADHD, anger management, Alzheimer's. So I think it's about having doctor representation in terms of your race, but she's the only practitioner that comes up for the area of Moncton for any specialty. Like, she's the only Black one we've got at all in Moncton. No matter what the specialty is.
Amazing.
But
Well,
it's
her
interesting that they
organization
got
is large and
funding. Go ahead, sorry.
it's not. It's amazing. It's not interesting. It's fitting because her organization has grown leaps and bounds in the past couple years with a number of different practitioners, and yeah, kudos to them. I think they're going to continue to do amazing work.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Okay, so I found the article, and the $100 million, as if someone could see this, the $100 million was committed.
For anyone not
We
watching,
love our audio.
just
Yeah.
held up his phone full brightness to show us an article. I see white. That's God coming through your phone as far as I'm concerned. I have no idea.
So yeah, the majority of our listenership is still on audio, but if you have, depending on how you listen, check out our video podcast as well. And we should have said this at the top of the episode. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, comment, following us on whatever streaming platform you might be listening to us, please. Leave us a review. People are reviewing us, which is amazing. Thank you so much. Our Spotify listenership is growing, which is amazing. And like our content, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Okay, so it's just so wild that this is all getting drummed up, because this was announced $100 million 2 years ago during Black History Month. And no one was. I didn't hear a lot of complaints about that, other than maybe the conservatives. But then they just announced a simple 1.5 million, and the internet's going wild. And I shouldn't be surprised that the internet's going wild, but it's just clickbait and the opportunity to hate. Little rhyme there.
But it's clickbait on both fronts, because the government's clickbaiting because they had already given them money, and then the articles are clickbaiting. Like, it's like, JT, you already gave Black people this money.
I don't think that's true. What? Is it? Because when you announce $100 million, it doesn't mean it gets dispersed right away. It could be like $100 million over 5 years, or over this, that, or the other.
I guess, but you would think that, maybe not clickbaiting, but it is money that was already decided that it was going.
It's not new money.
It's not new money.
Yeah.
To me, this is still to me, I would say this feels like buying votes and trying to get accolades and doing something on the very last day of Black History Month with money that was already spoken about 2 years prior.
Yeah, it was announced on February 24th, I think. But I mean, anyone listening, what are your thoughts? If you're watching live, what are your thoughts? Let us know.
Yeah. My thoughts are simply that give us the money. Thank you so much. But all the people making a stink about it, okay.
I mean, it's just, yeah, that's how the internet is.
That's how the internet is.
Other Trudeau news.
Yes, I can. So Trudeau banned TikTok on government devices, which is funny because I happen to be related to someone who I had to break the news to, and who walked away from the phone. But I mean, the funniest part about all of this, I saw an article that Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, confirmed that Conservatives would have to shut down their TikTok account and not reach their powerful voter audience in that way, and that they'd have to use another app.
So this was an orchestrated campaign against the Conservatives, shutting down TikTok. That's hilarious. I don't think that's what you're saying, or maybe what he's saying, but
I think it's just funny that Pierre Poilievre felt he had to say, sorry, we'll have to reach you through Instagram Reels now. We're closing our TikTok officially.
Yeah, that's weird, because Pierre is all up on TikTok doing the dances and stuff like that. It's funny, they're following suit from what America is doing with banning TikTok and stuff like that. And I mean, is China spying on us through our phones, through TikTok? Or maybe are they polluting the minds of our youth, which is probably more likely. Picking content to, like, are they trying to dumb down our youth, or
I'm making a face only because I think we are dumbing down our own youth. I don't
because
think you need another nation to achieve what we've achieved in terms of the fact that education and knowledge is power, and keeping that power away from racialized people, minority people, poor people, disenfranchised people, by giving them apps to give them instant gratification so then they don't go vote.
Yeah, now before someone quotes what we said, like in a year from now, when one of us, in 10 years, one of us are running for prime minister, the youth are not dumb. Youth are not dumb. Youth have access. I don't think so. I think youth have access to more information than they've ever had before. And while they don't have life experience or context, like you get with age, they have information, and mixed in with all that scrolling of nonsense, like they're learning more about themselves and health and boundaries, and they do have the information. I don't think youth are dumb. I don't. It's fine that you said that, and because these sites are dumbing down our youth, but I just don't think our youth are dumb. I just wanted to clarify that. But we have Instagram already. We've had Facebook. Have all these distracting things, and Snapchat, and they're spying on us, and we know it, but they just don't want the Chinese spying on us.
Well, and I mean, so several things about what you said. What was that?
We're
that
giving away
movie
our right to be spied on. Like,
that documentary that came out forever ago, the social whatever, that had
network or
everyone in a
experiment.
grip.
Yeah.
Yeah, the youth aren't dumb. First of all, the people in my household are over the age of 30 on TikTok. What is our parameters for youth? Because adults are on TikTok. Everyone is on all of social media. I would call it a dumbing down of a general population
Society.
because we don't like to be faced with the realities of the economy, war, all of the things going on that suck, that make life more difficult. And so it's very easy to disconnect and disassociate by being on any of the apps, which is also why I don't believe that China is out there being like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to dumb down any population by spying or by creating this app. I think it's just, that's the way our brains have already become. And I think it's funny that you say what you said about youth and knowledge, because it's, what I find very interesting is there's an oversaturation of knowledge, and I don't know how we're all holding it in our brains. So it's making both the smartest and stupidest generation at the same time, in my like very generalized outside perspective of like, we have the most amount of knowledge ever, but also people are still doing things like the cinnamon challenge and eating Tide Pods because there's nowhere to go with all of this knowledge. Main comment I wanted to make about that. But the Chinese, apparently, my small segue is they're spying on us with the balloons. Why do they need the TikTok?
Yeah. Before we segue, like, that's the same thing people were saying in the 90s about the internet.
Yes.
Like, here you have access to all the information on the world at the palm of your hand, right on your computer screen, and we're just using it to share cat pictures, right? So nothing has even changed from that era, and not all kids are on TikTok, so they still have access to all the information on the world. But what we do know is that cell phones are obviously increasing our ADHD, our attention span, our sense of commitment, and stuff like that. But so Trudeau banned it in the federal government following the Americans' move. And why is it related to these spy balloons? Here's the segue. Is this related to all the, like, at the same time, all these spy balloons are flying over our nations, which may have been there the whole time, but
the funny thing is, I learned through TikTok by watching the TikTok of Schitt's Creek actor Dan Levy that the balloons they shot down, they now can no longer find. So I used a Chinese app to learn about the missing spy balloons.
From China, yeah.
2023.
Schitt's Creek, which is hilarious, and which surprised me at first. Like, how the hell can you not find a downed balloon? Like, if you sent one jet to shoot it down, like, can't you send like another? Like, couldn't you have had someone else fly along with you to monitor it as it went down? Like, you knew where the balloon was. You could have had a drone that got there first, then you shoot it down. See, I should work for the military department, and then you find it. But what we also forget is that the world is big. The world is gigantic, and it's a lot bigger than we think. And I think some of these are shot down over the Arctic, and maybe they're harder to find. But again, I think there should have been more foresight, because they spend all this time looking for it. You could have just put a tracking thing on it.
They know where they were shot down, though. There was one over Alaska and one over, like, isn't it Lake Huron? Like, it's not the Arctic. It's they're those two places. So no, I think it's either aliens and not the Chinese.
It could be.
I want it to be aliens.
I know you do.
I like aliens. Or this is all somehow another fear-mongering tactic. They did find them. They don't want to release what is in them. Something else was shot down. Like, I think there's another story here.
Alien DNA. There could be alien. Okay, we're going there. We told people we were going there. Is there alien DNA on the balloons that shot down? I feel like Tucker Carlson right now. Aliens are infiltrating the world, and the government does not want to admit it. Okay,
I mean, like, the aliens were potentially already here, and they've just decided we're finally dumb enough that they're coming for us. But who's to say? This is all just joke speculation at this point. But regardless, I certainly think it's weird that if you had the coordinates to shoot it down, that you can't find it. It's not the Arctic. It's Alaska and Lake Huron. Figure it out. Sort it out. I think they already found them, and it's something else. It's like it's a piece of Area 51 that got loose and they don't want people to know or something.
It could be. But the world is also like mind-bogglingly bigger than we could ever imagine. Like New Brunswick, you can't even see it on the globe. Yet it takes you 4 hours to drive across it going 100 kilometers an hour, right? Like, it's gigantic. Anyways,
thank God I don't think anyone's looking for New Brunswick.
Just
kidding.
No. Yeah, we are kidding. And we said we were going to get weird, so don't anyone be surprised by this. But yeah, so Trudeau announces the thing and people are losing their mind. Trudeau also announced a federal ban on TikTok, which means that more action could be coming. These Chinese spy balloons are weird. They're a weird distraction. Like, I also wonder sometimes, like, are they using this kind of news to cover up something else that's going on in the media, right?
There is that thought. I also forgot that I wanted to say in terms of the, like, spying. It's also been very much revealed that, like, a lot of these apps and things that you, like, sign on to a third party through your Facebook, and it's like, figure out, like, what you look like as a baby, and, like, you connect your Facebook profile and it populates something on your page. That those are all those are also, like, ways that allegedly, conspiracy theory tinfoil hat on, that they're, like, harvesting photos, information, data about you. Like, I live life believing that my digital footprint is large, that you can find out a lot about me, and that's why I don't have a private life, because anybody from any country could Google my name, learn about me. We have a podcast. I've done shit in my teen years that is probably linked a weird page to my Facebook. So TikTok, come for me.
You want to know something interesting that you're right that I found out about yesterday?
What?
One sec. Okay, let's see. Okay, Google, what do you know about Clinton Davis from New Brunswick?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
That is not what she said yesterday. Okay, Google, what do you know about Clinton Davis in NB?
On the website blacklandic.ca, they say Clinton Davis, an entrepreneur raised in Toronto with roots in Jamaica and Pay, relocated to NB in 2009.
Okay, Google, cancel.
Yes, pay.
Yeah, I know. But that's weird. I try that for yourself if you ever get the chance. Yeah, so things like Facebook and Google, we've agreed to let them.
If you're on those terms and conditions,
if you're on Facebook on your browser and you haven't logged out, and you close Facebook but you're not logged out, you've actually given them permission to know what other websites you're on and what you're browsing, and for them to continue to monitor your internet activity. And this is not a conspiracy theory. You've given them permission to continue to monitor your internet activity, even when you're not on the site. So this is all like this. That's just one of many things. Like, we have willingly, forget these third-party apps, we've willingly given our entire lives over to these organizations, and what they're using them for, I don't know. For health services in the future, to program their AI, to properly understand more about us than we understand about ourselves. I mean, my smartwatch 24 hours a day is monitoring my blood pressure, my heart rate, like how I'm feeling. It's wild. But China's watching us on TikTok, so they got to be banned.
Absolutely.
Only American companies are allowed to know this kind of stuff about us.
Absolutely. Understood.
Good.
Trash.
Good. Yeah.
Do we want to
Speaking
roll
of
through
trash.
the last? Speaking of trash, do we want to roll through this one quickly? Because I'd like to devote about 3 minutes to the other thing I forgot I wanted to bring up.
Absolutely. So speaking of trash,
Fox News, trash.
So Fox News are hateful. So to our people, to people who listen to Fox News, the employees of Fox News are not allowed to speak about this. So you might have to learn about this from somewhere else or learn about it from us. Fox News is currently being in the middle of a $1 billion lawsuit because their journalists and reporters regarding the January 6th riots, they are they knew the election results were not frauds. They knew that the election was legit. Sorry, let me just read this here.
Essentially, they kept saying on air that they did think that it was fraudulent, that they didn't think it was legit, but text messages have been released, as you told me earlier on the phone, because I have no privy information about this, that revealed that behind the scenes, everything they were saying on air was false to incite anger and encourage higher ratings.
Yeah, so Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, and the other person on it, like their texts were uncovered, texting each other like while reporting on the news that the election results were fraudulent, that democracy has been compromised, inciting what many are saying, like contributing to inciting the riots that took place on January 6th, all the while texting each other behind the scenes like, this is complete bullshit, this is crazy, the election was won fair and square, don't quote me, but like this is complete nonsense, I can't believe we're doing this, etc., etc. And then they'd go on the air to boost views and ratings and clicks, and say all this radical stuff that they didn't even believe to be true themselves. And even Rupert Murdoch, who, a lot of people on Fox, they're like anti-corporation and anti-this. Rupert Murdoch is one of the richest men in the world, who has like Fox News headquarters like downtown central Manhattan in the most expensive place ever. And even one journalist was trying to speak out about this, and Tucker Carlson's texts were uncovered saying like, can we please fire this journalist, like fire her today, she's affecting Fox's stock prices, like she's affecting my money, let's get her out of here right now, like this is like bad. So again, more talk about clickbait and stuff like that. Like if you're a journalist and your reporting is absolute BS and you're doing it to get ratings while riling up your viewers, which leads to things like riots. Yeah, so they're going through it right now. So if you don't know about Fox News, look it up. What are your thoughts on that, Hillary?
To say briefly, the thing that we wanted to basically highlight is we are entertainment and not news. Fox claims to be news, but they are more entertainment. And I think that it leads more to a thing of everyone should try to look for unbiased news sources and not people that have shows ratings or any kind of stock in what happens to those shows. Like, you need to find news that is just going to report facts, and where the reporters and journalists aren't becoming caricatures of themselves or so-called like public figure influencery types, where then it is no longer unbiased, where they are influencing the mind of voters, the safety of people, etc., because that is a very dangerous situation, as we just saw. As someone who does this, but also does journalism outside, partnered with CBC and all of my writing endeavors, I strive very hard to, unless it is an opinion piece, keep my opinion out of it and just state what I know until I'm asked those questions, because it's not about that. It's about information, informing the public. It's not about what Hillary thinks, unless it's Black Atlantic, and then it's about what Hillary and Clinton think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You couldn't have said it better. I mean, we can't say that we're never biased on the show, but again, we're podcasters, right? We're entertainment. We're just the two of us. We don't have fact checkers or producers or anything like that, and we do our best to be accurate. But yeah, and even people have to be careful when they're typing things into Google, right? You shouldn't, like, if you want to find out about something, don't make a leading statement like, are the Chinese spy balloons really sent from aliens, right? And because you're going to find exactly what you're looking for. You could Google, where did don't even use the word Chinese. Where did the
just
white
use
balloons in the sky come
aliens.
from? Balloons in
Yeah.
sky over North America.
Yeah.
So you're always going to find what you're looking for on the net, and I guess if you're always going to find what you're looking for on Fox News if you have that mentality. I mean, we can't say that. We can't say that CNN and NBC and even in Canada CBC and CTV are not biased. I believe even CBC is a little bit biased and a little bit left-leaning, although they're probably the best we got in Canada in terms of unbiased news reporting. All in all, to say, there's a lot of clickbait out there. It's never going to go away. We're going to keep using clickbait. We are.
May I
But
pivot to my one
not the
last
news.
thing as I'm cognizant of the time?
Yes.
Very quickly, we shared on Blacklandic the fact that Julie Black changed one word in the national anthem, and she did like one of our. I liked that we talked about it, so she changed it to our home on native land. Something that I have been saying for years. Also, it's Tashawn from Big Brother Season 9, who's been on our show, who encouraged her to say it before she walked out, which she revealed on iHeartRadio. And that's not even what I actually want to talk about. I'm going to make it a little sad for a second. A woman of Indian descent emailed Julie's people and called her the N-word, called her people monkeys, all in the name of preserving
our people. Yeah.
Well,
all people.
Right?
Yeah.
Basically, so this person said, you blacks need to move to and live in white countries in order to have a high quality of life and better standard of living. You blacks are incapable of developing a first world country or even a first world city anywhere in the world. Just look at the Caribbean and Africa, the worst countries, not continent, countries in the world. But while living in a white majority country, you have the audacity to single-handedly change our national anthem. How dare you? Who the F do you think you are? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Until the end, where this person says, I'm not white. I'm originally from India, but have lived in Canada for the past 30 years. I know the difference between a patriot and an insert N-word. And I wanted to bring it up simply to say, sometimes other people of color are racist, and sometimes Black people do wildly selfless things like change one word in the national anthem to be good allies to other people of color and have to suffer horrible mental health things like this. Tonight, she's actually doing a mental health talk with Tashawn that I wasn't able to go to. And it's literally about how the detriments of social media, putting your whole life out there, and this type of hatred. And I just want to say, in case she's ever listening, and in case she sees this, and in case she ever wants to be on, but also in general, your allyship is commendable. I think that type of work is brave. I hate that that's the type of world where we live in, where any person feels the right to say that about a national anthem, because the people who fought for our national anthem fought for the freedom for Julie to be able to change that word if she wants to, because we are a free country.
Yeah.
Clinton, your thoughts?
You said it all. I mean,
okay.
It was just everything. It was so cool. It was so cool. Julie Black is a Canadian legend. She's an icon. She's so much more than a musician. She's brave and she's strong, and she changed the words to the national anthem, and that's what they should be. And I was so excited that she commented on our post on IG. I mean. Yeah. Tashawn, yo, call up your girl Julie and tell her we want her on the show, please.
To be fair, Logic has offered. She has DM'd me before. We could do that.
Well, we
could do that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we got to get Julie Black on the show.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we still need to try to get Anime Paul on the show.
The laundry list is long. What's she been up to?
That's what we'd have to find out. I'm very curious to know. Clearly, we're talking about having people like Anime Paul and Julie Black on the show, and we actually might get them. So again, we're so grateful for all the progress we've made as a network. And people say not to spread yourselves out, and maybe we are too spread thin, because if you just look at one of our sites or streaming pages or social media platforms, the numbers aren't always up there. But when we combine all our analytics, it's amazing. It's amazing the kind of response and feedback and listenership we have. Absolutely. So we're going to keep going with that, and we're thankful. I knew this was going to be a fun episode. I'm getting really far from the mic.
I don't think we've ever rolled through so many storylines, headlines, and I'm sort of like, invigorated, super hype. What a great episode.
It was.
Feels good since I was away for like a while.
And also part of, the more and more people we connect with, the more guests we want to have on the show, because there's so many interesting people. But we love our topic episodes. It's been a while. So for those who love our topic episodes too, thank you for listening. If you got through to the end, you're a real one. Thank you. And Hillary, do you want to wrap us up?
Steal that line from you.
Oh, snap. You got to be quick to the draw next week.
Right. What do I have to share? Crapberry on all socials, still writing for buyblacks.com, who also celebrated their 10th anniversary this year, and I got to meet some very cool people there as well, so shout out to them. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, all of those fun things. We have a GoFundMe page if you're interested. Oh, and yeah, there's a QR code. If you're watching, there's been a QR code there the whole time. Were you curious? Did you scan it? You could now. You've got time. You got, hey. Thanks for being you, Clinton, and I'm glad that we've been doing this for over a year.
Hillary, thanks for being you.
I felt that right here in my heart.
I meant it from my heart.